So another interesting topic is Microsoft has just dominated the enterprise space, which is no surprise to everybody, right? So one of the biggest things is that OpenAI has just run to this number of how fast they've acquired users. ChatGPT has become this thing. The other day, my wife was like, well, hey, did you chat GPT that? And you're like, and I said, I hate chat GPT. And she's like, well, that's just a, verb now. We just chat GPT, something like you Google something. And I said, since when has that become a thing? She's like, it just is. You have to accept it whether you hate them or not. But so they've come to claim this crown of how many users they've acquired so quickly, and yet their enterprise adoption is dramatically low. It's really bad. In fact, most security officers out there are working to block ChatGPT. However, nearly 70% of Fortune 500 companies now integrate Microsoft 365 Copilot. And see, what Microsoft's done is they've done a brilliant strategy because everybody has 365 and Microsoft 365, right? Like almost every corporation out there, I think it's something in the high 80% use Microsoft 365. And it's literally one more checkbox in the admin console to enable Copilot to be allowed into your organization. So Microsoft has backdoored their AI so well into their Microsoft 365 component that 70% of Fortune 500 companies now enable Copilot into their workflows. And so Jeffries just raised Microsoft's price target to $600, citing faster Copilot adoption than ChatGPT in enterprise. This is the beginning of the demise of OpenAI, because if they cannot get into enterprise, the $20 a month people are not going to pay the bill. It's the enterprise that are going to pay it.
Yeah, you're totally right about kind of what your wife, my mother said about GPT is it is becoming a household term. Hey, did you GPT that? If you don't, the next one that I hear is instead of did you GPT that is just use AI to figure it out. People don't care what AI it is; they just care that you're using an AI to figure it out. So OpenAI definitely had the first to market advantage because it's one of those things like where were you when you tried GPT for the first time? Like I can still tell you exactly where I was when it happened. So although it may be on the corporate level, on the enterprise level, they haven't had a lot of success. Definitely on the individual consumer side, they were first to market, so they do have that advantage. But you have to kind of think of it as a pedestal. If you're number one on a pedestal, everybody's trying to knock you off. You have Elon trying to knock you off, so there are disadvantages to being first to market. Right now, they're reaping the rewards of it, but they have to stay on top. And so they're probably going to have to figure out this enterprise thing. And that price target of $600, Microsoft is currently trading at $510 a share. But what's really interesting about Microsoft is a cash cow. I don't have their financials up in front of me, but they're a $3.79 trillion company. They're not that far behind NVIDIA. Their margins are insane. Microsoft, they don't do anything sexy, but they are good. They have been consistent. They have good leadership. Microsoft is a fantastic company and they integrate very well. And I think the Trojan horse of 365, check a box and you have Copilot, that's a lot better than, hey, I'm going to reimburse you maybe for a ChatGPT subscription, which some employers may be doing, which is totally fine. But if you're wanting to kind of integrate it into your suite, or if you're worried about security, this may be a better option, because I think you and I have talked about it. People are just putting all their raw client data right into OpenAI. And it's like, we don't know the impacts of this yet. Hopefully that answered your question about my thoughts on Microsoft, but the way that they're able to integrate, it's brilliant, and it definitely gives them a competitive advantage against OpenAI.
Yeah, Satya Nadella is brilliant. I think he's one of the best tech executives. And like you said, he's not flashy. He's not super sexy. He's not Steve Jobs up on the stage in a black turtleneck, right? Like he is very quiet compared to a lot of other tech CEOs, but they have just quietly amassed their cash cow. Microsoft in the corporate world is not going anywhere. No one has dethroned them. They've been there for 2 decades. I didn't like Steve Ballmer. I thought he was an idiot. I thought he was too flashy and loud, and he was wrong most of the time. Satya Nadella has been definitely a good move for Microsoft. Very quiet, very steady, and very, very smart and very strategic. And so the way they have played Copilot, which actually is one of the worst in benchmarks, this goes to show that like tech doesn't win because they're the best. So Satya Nadella has consistently, put Microsoft into the right spot. So I think this goes to show how your tech leadership can be really smart and make great moves for you, can also really hurt you in the long run. And I think he's amazing. So